Hey guys, welcome to part 4 of my Making a Discord Bot in Python YouTube series. In this video, we are going to be going over plugins and extensions, how to implement them, why you might want them, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Before we get into the video, I know I disappeared again for a good amount of time. I was finishing up school, my last year of university, and so I'm graduating soon. Don't worry, I have no more homework or anything like that, so really no more excuses, but who knows? So I will try to be more consistent, especially because it should be a lot easier. But either way, with that stuff in mind, let's get into the video. So let's talk a little bit about what plugins and extensions are. So when I create a separate file to add my new bot functionality to, I create a plugin, which we will see later when we start actually writing some code. This is kind of just a brief overview, but I create a plugin and I add my features to that plugin, whether that be my events, my commands, whatever. Now, once we have our plugin created, we load that plugin into the bot application as an extension. Why? Because the plugin, now containing its new additional features, is extending the current how would you say it? The current functionality of your application, right? So your bot, like for example, you see the code right here. All it does is, well, turn on. But once we create our plugin, we will load in the functionality of that plugin to the bot and therefore extend its current capabilities, right? So an extension is effectively just a branch of what the bot is capable of doing, and the plugin is the features that you are adding in as that branch, if that kind of makes sense. So with that out of the way, hopefully that made a little bit of sense, but it'll probably be a little bit more clear once we get into writing code. So let's get into that now. All right, so now let's get started actually creating our plugin. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to create a new folder called extensions. You can really call it whatever you want, but of course this folder is going to house our extensions, so I'm calling it extensions. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file within this folder, and I'm going to call it example.py, simply because this is going to be an example plugin, and we'll add a couple features to it, but for now let's just get everything set up. So within example.py, we're going to do a couple things. So the first thing we are going to do is import Lightbulb, and this is simply because in order to create a plugin, we are going to need the library. Then what we are going to do is we are going to create a variable called plugin, and we are going to set it equal to an instance of lightbulb.plugin, just like that. And then within the parentheses, we are able to provide the plugin with a name. In this case, I'm just going to call it example because we're in example.py. It's an example for the video. You get it. So this is our plugin here. Now we need a way to add it to our bot application. So how do we do this? Well, next we need to create a function called load. So I'm going to say def load, and this function is going to take in an instance of our bot. Then within the function, we are going to type out bot.add_plugin, and then in the parentheses here, we are going to pass in the plugin that we created up here. So what's happening here? Basically what we are doing is we are creating an instance of a plugin. It has no additional functionality just yet. We'll get to that later. And then we are creating a function down here called load, which takes in an instance of the bot application and adds the plugin that we just created up here to the bot. So basically what's going to happen is whenever we load our plugin, it's going to add the plugin that we created along with all the functionality that we added to it to our bot application for us to be able to use within Discord. So this is basically all we're going to have in here for now. We'll add more to it later, but I'm going to save the file. Then I'm going to head on over to bot.py here. So what we need to do in this file is we actually need to load the extension. Or the plugin, I should say. So if you remember, we created this function, and how we load it is by calling a very simple method, bot.loadExtensions. And there's actually two ways. I'll go over the second way in a minute. But basically what we can do is we can pass in the name of the extension. So what we do is we say, since our extension or our plugin is in example.py within the extensions folder, we would pass in the string extensions.example. Because essentially what it's saying is go to the extensions directory, and then within that, go to example.py, or go to example, and load it from there. So this is one way to load the plugin. It's not my preferred way, but this is how you can specify exactly what extension you want to load. I believe you can also just pass in multiple strings. So let's say you had I don't know, example 2, you could do something like this. I believe that's how it works. Don't quote me on that, just check the documentation. But my preferred way of doing this is actually using a different method. Let's just type it out from scratch. Load extensions from. So what we do here is, instead of passing in the name of the extension or the file containing the plugin, what we do is we simply pass in a path to the directory. So extensions, just like that. And what this does is I'm kind of stuttering here, but it essentially goes to the extensions directory, looks at all Python files within the directory, and tries to call the load method. If there's no load method, then of course it can't load the extension. And so this is how I'm going to do it for the sake of the video, simply because if I create more extensions, which I won't, but assume I did, I don't have to continuously add lines of code. If I really wanted to do it the other way, and I didn't want to have to write load extensions calls over and over, I could maybe use a loop that goes through the directory. If you saw kind of my older series using Discord PY, I did exactly that. But this is a nice clean way. I prefer it. I don't really see any other reason, or any reason not to do it this way. But yeah, so we're going to leave it like that. And now what we are going to do is we are going to run our bot application. So as you can see here, down here, extension loaded extensions.example. So as you can see, we have successfully loaded our extension. Of course, as we know, there's no functionality that we've added to the bot through that extension, but we will get to that now. But so far, we can see that the plugin we created works, and we've loaded it successfully. So now let's get into adding some additional functionality and then testing it out. All right, so for the last part of this video, and definitely the most exciting and important part of this video, is adding functionality to our plugin. Because what's the point in loading one in if it can't do anything, right? So what we're going to do is some very basic, we'll probably do one of each, an event and a command. I'll probably do like the same ones that I did in the 2 videos that I made on events and commands, just like a ping command, and I think it was just a print messages event that printed out messages to the console, something like that. But yeah, so let's do that now. So as you can see, we are in the example.py file that we created. And so what we are going to do is we are going to start creating our functions. So first things first, we're going to start off with the decorator. We are going to say @plugin.listener, and we are going to actually pass in the type of event that we want to listen for. So we're actually going to need to import Hikari here, and I'm just going to say import Hikari, just like that. And within these parentheses here, I'm going to say Hikari.guild message create event. There we go. So that's it for our decorator. We're just saying @plugin.listener and then passing in the event that we want to listen for. Onto our function header, we are going to simply say async def print messages. And then within the parentheses here, we are going to pass in the event itself. So we'll put a colon there, and just within our event, or within our body of our function, we are just going to simply say print event.content. Simple, straightforward. This should look familiar if you guys have seen episode 2. So onto the command, we are simply going to say @plugin.command. And of course, if I seem to be going a little bit fast, once we're done with all the code, I'm going to briefly walk us through everything we just did again. But @plugin.command, then we need to say @lightbulb.command, and we need to pass in the name of the command. So it's just going to be a ping command, and a brief description. We'll just say says Pong, ! I don't know. Our third decorator will be lightbulb dot, not command, implements. And then we need to specify the type of command that we want to implement. In this case, it's going to be a / command. So we're just going to put in / command within the parentheses there, lightbulb./command. And then onto our function header, async def, not ping. And we are going to pass in the context, or we are going to have the context passed into our command. And then within the command itself, await ctx.respond pong. Again, this stuff should all look super familiar if you've seen episode 2 and episode 3, but let's briefly go over what we've done here. So for the most part, this code should look very, very similar to writing it outside of a plugin. The only real difference is that we are specifying that these are to be created for the plugin itself, right? So remember, we had this instance of plugin up here. Actually, let me click on this here so you can see Oh wait, it highlights this. There we go. You can see where all the instances of this variable are being used. So as a decorator of the event, you can see that we're specifying the plugin there, and we're saying, hey, this plugin has a listener for this type of event. Great. And then for our command down here, this plugin also has a command binded to it, of which, the name is ping, its description says pong, it's a slash command, blah, 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 you get it. And then we're loading this plugin in as you guys saw previously. So let's try and run this. So if we run the bot, as we can see down here, extension loaded, extensions.example, so great. Let me pull over the Discord here, just like that. And we are going to take a look. So first things first, if you remember, guild message.createEvent, this is when a message is sent. So if I type in something like hi, as you can see, it's printing out the content, right? Let's look at the code one more time. When this event is fired, we're just printing event.content to the console. Simple enough, right? And geez, can I shrink this down a little bit? There we go, that's better. A little bit better. And maybe a bit more. Yeah, just so we can have the full function there. And then we have our ping command, right? So if I type /, it pulls up our commands. And if I look at the bot itself, we have our ping command /ping, says pong. And if we hit enter, it says pong, right? And of course, this is being sent here as well, because this is a message being sent and this event is firing, right? So great, this is working. So this is effectively how you create your plugins and how you load them in. It's nothing too complicated, but it's an incredibly useful feature that I would recommend you all use, especially if you plan on making a bot of maybe medium to large scale. If it's something very basic for a very niche purpose, then fine, maybe you can get away with using one file. But if you plan on having maybe multiple features or features just of different categories, it might be useful to you, just even as an organization tool, if not for the sake of modularity. But yeah, so thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm really sorry once again for taking forever with my uploads. I will try to do better, but just something, I don't remember if I've said this before, I'm sure I have, but if I ever disappear, like I do from time to time, I'm always on Discord, so you can go to the link in my description, or in the description. You'll find links to the Hikari help server, you'll find links to my help server, you'll find links to the documentation. I try to post everything that you guys might need down there. And but yeah, so if you guys are wondering where the heck I am, you can just join the server and be like, yo, where is this guy? But yep, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment suggestions for future videos down below. Usually after every upload, I like to go through the comments and just kind of be like, hey, I wonder what people are up to. But yeah, I'll be going through that probably after this video goes up. Share it with your friends. I don't think I've ever said that one before. Subscribe. I don't remember if I said that just now. Either way, you guys get the gist of it. Any type of support really helps me out. So yeah, once again, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Yeah. All right.